Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another James Talks About the NFL or Football Nerd video, whatever you want to call it. And today, well, a couple of days ago, the Jacksonville Jaguars reached or came to terms with their previously interim coach to be their full time head coach. Now, Now, back whenever I made the Jacksonville Jaguars have just fired Gus Bradley mid-season video, I mentioned that Doug Marrone, the offensive line coach, was going to be the interim coach. Turns out that Doug Marrone performed well enough as an interim head coach to get the attention of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And although the Jaguars were 1-1, so they had won a game and then lost a game with Marrone as their interim head coach, Blake Bortles played very, very well for the Jaguars as he completed over two-thirds of his passes in both games, and that had only happened once more, or once before Gus Bradley was fired on December 18th, which, just as I mentioned in the Gus Bradley just got fired by the Jacksonville Jaguars video, Doug Marrone has had has had head coaching experience before in the NFL. As I mentioned, he was the Buffalo Bills head coach in 2013 and 2014, and I wish I could have talked about this on Monday, but I was just busy with some real life things, by the way, which I do apologize for taking another week-long kind of break. But I'm thinking about posting a video on this channel tomorrow because the Broncos have hired a head coach. That was my last video. Their former head coach, Gary Kubiak, retiring. But yes, in terms... Sorry. Throat's dry. I need to drink. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Now, to continue on with the video and to give my thoughts on the Doug Marrone hiring, personally, I like the hiring. I do. From the standpoint of if Doug Marrone can build a good staff around him that will help the defense and Blake Bortles succeed, like like Bortles did under Doug Marrone in those two games that I mentioned, having like 64 completion percentage, then that would be amazing for Jacksonville because their offense just regressed so much. Blake Bortles at some points this past season seemed like he didn't have any throwing mechanics whatsoever, and I tell you, that's got to be troublesome for Jaguars fans because whenever your franchise quarterback is struggling as much as Bortles did, then that's a real issue. Hold on, is my mic in the right place? But yes, head coaching hires are taking place, and I will give my feedback on if I like them or not, and the reasons behind if I like them or don't like them, and if I haven't flat out said it, I like the hiring of Doug Marrone by the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, now you may make the point that interim coaches don't do so well after they get elevated. Personally, in terms of Doug Marrone's case, if you can turn the Buffalo Bills into a winner like he did in 2014 with a 9-7 mark, without Tyrod Taylor, without superstar linebacker for them, Kiko Alonso, and without Shady McCoy, Sammy Watkins was a rookie, and they didn't have Charles Clay, their tight end, on the roster, and they didn't have Richie Incognito at guard on the roster that really helped the Buffalo Bills offensive line, especially last year as well as this year. So, yeah, so whenever you take those pieces and just realize that Doug Marrone and the Buffalo Bills even upset future NFL MVP or soon to be NFL MVP that year, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, in December of 2014. I think it was week 15 that they did it in. But all I'm saying is that if you give Doug Marrone a good quarterback like Blake Bortles, then I think that he can really win in Jacksonville. Hold on, give me a second. I think he can really win in Jacksonville, and with that weak division. The Texans need to work out a quarterback that they can rely on. I'm not trying to take shots at Brock Osweiler, but I'm sorry, but whenever you paid someone like 75 million or it was either 74 or 76 million to be your starting quarterback, then you ought to play well. But Marcus Mariota is coming back, and maybe Indianapolis will be a force next year. But I think that if Jacksonville can improve upon the offensive line, which, just as I've mentioned, Doug Marrone was the offensive line coach, then I think you can give Blake Bortles time to throw to Alan Hearns. I almost said Alan Hurts. Alan Hearns and Allen Robinson, the two Allen brothers, quote unquote, they're not really brothers, by the way. But, yeah, if you can give Blake Bortles time to throw and have a healthy running back, then I think Doug Marrone can really, really have an impact on that Jaguars franchise. And especially since he has had NFL head coaching experience, unlike his former boss and predecessor, Gus Bradley. But yes, I'm very interested to see how Blake Bortles plays with Doug Marrone with Doug Marrone as the head coach next season in 2017. So yes, guys, that will do it for this James Talks About the NFL, uh, aka Football Nerd. And I'm sorry that I haven't really posted this year. It's just that, or since the past month, or like within the past month, it's just that I've been busy with family, and then I had real life things to do, like school and some other things to worry about. But I should be back on track, and I will post a Football Nerd to video. Maybe I'll post a Football Nerd video tomorrow. If not, then Friday I will post a Football Nerd video. Because the Broncos hired a head coach, and I've got to give my opinion on it, and all of that good stuff. So yes, guys, that will do it for this video. And as always, well, that will do it for this Football Nerd video. And till the next Football Nerd video, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys. Thank you all for watching, and as always, go Panthers. Man, I fumbled around at the end there.